what I see as just a lack of credibility of international human rights organization operating in Israel and Gaza and the West Bank since October 7th. We saw, the inability by a number of international human rights organizations to take seriously the accusations of sexual violence that took place on October 7th, a great deal of equivocation about the legitimacy of the Hamas attacks, because if you make the larger claim that all of it is the result of occupation, then it makes you kind of blind to the particular atrocities, the indistinguishing between civilians and combatants, all of those things. How does the ICRC navigate both being kind of part of a world of international human rights NGOs, but actually operating very differently? Can you talk a little bit about that dynamic?
While we understand the public sentiment, we don't refute it. We live within those communities where we operate. And again, as I said, people working for the ICRC are humans. When you're faced with such tragedies, unless you're heartless, you respond to that in a humane way. I've had my non-Jew colleagues at work telling me that they haven't slept at night because they had Kfir and Ariel Bibas coming up in their dreams, and that goes with me because it really kind of shows that when you do this humanitarian work, you can't avoid being impacted on the humane and personal level. So while we understand the public sentiment and we feel it, and we're oftentimes even a part of it on the personal level, we have to make sure that we stick to the unique principles and methods that ICRC follows all around the world. We have to be very consistent in not condemning and not speaking oftentimes to horrific things that we see on all ends. Mm-hmm. And this can be very challenging. But at the same time, we always have to balance what's at stake, and that's our ability to provide assistance to people. Mm-hmm.